So today we're going to be looking at how do you make some audio for your games. And one of the things that you can do is you can go off and you can buy a program, and if you want to have complete control, that's probably what you want to do. But if you like to do things a little bit more on the cheap, at least when you're first starting off, and most of us do, then this is a resource that you can go to. It's not the only one by any means, but it is a resource that you can go to in order to drop your own tracks using other people's loops. So if you go to http://soundation.com, just like it says up here, you'll come to a page that looks like this. You can, at this point, sign up if you would like to, and the sign-up process is pretty quick, pretty easy, but you don't have to. That's just if you want to be able to go back in, re-edit your tracks that you drop later on, or if you want to keep track of all of the different tracks that you make as you get more experienced with this. The other thing that you can do is you can come here to where it says Launch the Studio, though, and that's what we're going to do today, is just simply click on where it says Launch the Studio. That's going to bring up an interface that looks like this, and if you look at this interface, you see that you have 4 audio channels right off the bat. You have a menu that's up here at the top, so you can make a new song, you can add pieces and parts in terms of tracks, or you can import audio files and use those as a piece of what you're doing. But what we're going to probably stick with, at least to start with, is just going to be the free sounds that are over here on the side. And so it's going to work kind of like GarageBand if you have any experience with that program. And if you don't, this is how easy it is to get started. So as we look at this, you have different folders, and the different folders, they can have different beats, or they can have a different length to each one of the pieces that's on the inside, each one of the loops. But the important thing here is that you can go in and you can just grab the types of loops that you might want to use. So if I know that I want a bass, I could go ahead and I could simply click on a couple of these different pieces in order to see what they have and the way that they sound. So I can take these and I can go ahead and I can pull them over. So I kind of like that kick, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to pull it over here. Notice that it loads. Now if I come down here to the bottom and I click on the play button, you can see that this is now over on that side. Now that isn't all that impressive to start with, except for the fact that remember that you're doing this online and you haven't downloaded a program, which actually makes this really, really impressive. Now you can take different pieces, so you might want a snare in here too, but I might not want my snare to start off right at the beginning. I might want my snare to start off after the kick's been going for a little bit. So I just drag it over and I put it onto another audio channel. And then when I play it again, and you can see that now I've got a little bit more of a beat. Now I could take this kick, and if I want to extend it, I can go ahead and I can copy it, and I can simply paste it back in here. I can pull it over to the side, and that puts it next to the other one. So now what I'm going to have is more like a loop. So by doing this, I can go ahead and I can put all sorts of different sounds together. Now, like I said before, I kind of wanted some sort of bass, so I'm going to find a bass that I like. And that one will work. So I'll go ahead and I'll pull that one over. And now if I go back and I play it, you can see that I'm starting to stack all of my different pieces and parts together. And maybe that isn't exactly what I want, so I can take this and I can right click on it and I can simply come down here and I can cut it. Now that one's gone, and I can go and I can look to see if there's one that sounds a little bit more like what I'm looking for. I kind of like that one, so I'm going to pull that one over here. then I can come down and I can just keep looking for pieces and parts that I think sound kind of cool, and I can put them all together. And I just keep stacking these pieces and parts until I finally get to the point where I've got something that I think sounds pretty good. And you can extend these pieces out, for a fairly long ways. You have a lot of different measures that you can go down to. So you can make full-on songs using this. And you can move these things around, so you can move them back and forth. You can move them from one track to another simply by dragging them around. I'm going to play this one last time. Now I'm getting something that, it might work in a game. If I was going to do this for, to make sure that I had something that was really good, then I would go ahead and I would, work with it a lot to get it to where I actually wanted it to be. But I could take this. Now this, as it is something that I could take and I could put into a game. I could come here, and you see how I want this to actually stop at this point right here. I don't want any of this extra stuff in here. So what I can do is I can right-click on this, and I can say split at the playhead. And then I can take this piece, and I can just delete it. Now what I've got is I've got a track that I could go and I could take, and I could loop it in the inside of a game. And when I put it into my game, it's going to have a loop. If I want to see how it sounds as a loop, if I click up here and I drag, if you'll notice there's just a little line right here, but if I click up here and I drag, I can say how much of the song I want to loop. And then I can bring this back to the beginning. And when I play it now, it'll go through, and when it gets to the end, it'll loop back to the beginning. And when we look at that, that doesn't have the best kind of looping structure that we could possibly have. We probably want something else so that it doesn't sound so flat here at the very beginning. So we can go ahead and we can move a bass piece, or we could go and we could find another track, and we can just keep building out all the pieces and parts that we've got. And when you listen to that, it sounds a little bit better. We don't have that yet completely flat sound at the beginning now. So this might be a track that I would want to use, but I might want to throw something else on here. And it might not be in this 125 folder. It might be in a different folder, like this 130 down here. I might have another piece that I want to bring in. So I might want to add this one to the very end of this. And what I do is I grab it and I bring it up. Now, I'm going to get a message when it gets done loading. Because this file is at a different tempo than the original files that I had, because this one is at a tempo of 130 and these ones are at a tempo of 125, I have to decide how do I want to make these gel together. And so I can stretch it out, or I can change the pitch and stuff, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just change the pitch. And if you look right up here, you'll see that this will actually take up the rest of this little space right there when I get done. So now this is going to be at the same pitch as all the rest of this. I can go ahead and I can do that with other pieces and parts as well. So it's not just this 130, but I can also do it with anything out of the urban pieces. You know, like... I can take that one and I can throw it in. When it gets done loading, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to tell me that it's not at the same tempo as the original files that I had. So again, I can go ahead and I can just change that. And now it'll be pretty seamless. Remember that I've got this looping on up here. So if I want to turn that off, I just click on the yellow. If I want to turn it back on, I just click on the yellow again. And I can pull this out to where the end of my file is. And now what I should have is I should have a track that has the original pieces that I had. It has different tempos, but those tempos have been changed so that they fit in with what the original structure was. And this may not sound very good at all, but then again, it might. And while not the best piece of music that's ever been invented, you have to keep in mind that this is online. It's using tracks that are of different tempos, and it's being made in a span of less than 10 minutes. So that's the way that you make the pieces and parts. You just go through this library and you find the pieces and parts that you like, make sure that the sounds that you're going for kind of fit together, and then when you're done, if you've logged in, you can go ahead and you can save the song that you're doing online, and you can get back in and you can edit it later. Or if you don't have a login, you can simply come over here and you can export it to a .wav file. And when you do that, it'll go ahead and it'll say your wave is now ready to be saved. Do you want to save it? You simply go and you identify where it is that you want your file to save to. So if you're doing this for your game design class, you would go ahead and you would navigate to your U drive, into your game programming folder, and then whatever folder it is that you have decided you're going to use in order to save all of your sounds. Every one of these will be called Mixdown when you get done with it, so you probably want to go ahead and title it something different after every single one of your pieces. So for me, this might be kind of like a funky background or something like that. And then you just hit save. And that's it. You've made your own track. You've made your own loop. You can take that and you can bring it into the GameMaker environment. You can bring it into Unity. You can bring it into any kind of gaming environment that you would want to use. Or you can simply just drop the track and use it on your iPad or your iPod or whatever it is that you might have. For those of you that are interested in being able to track your stuff over time, you can create all of your pieces and parts and then come up here and click on Login. It's going to ask for, this is assuming that you've already signed up. And like I said, the sign-up process is pretty easy. You can click on the sign-up process. You're not going to want to click on the sign-up process from the inside of this piece right here if you want to save these parts. You want to make sure that you sign up before, just in case, your browser crashes or something like that. But if you have already signed up, you can simply log in from here. And you don't lose any of the work that you've been doing. And then you can come up here and you can say save as, and you can save this as a new song. So then you just hit save, and now it's saved to your account. If you want to see what that account looks like, you can get out of this part right here, and you can go back to just the Soundation.com. And when you're when you're logged in, it'll say that you're logged in up here. You can simply click on My Account. It has all of your pieces here, and then you can go to where it says Tracks, and you can see what tracks have you published so that other people can see them. You can go in, you can manage your account and stuff, but you can go in and you can see what kinds of stuff you've created in the past. So that's a real quick overview of Soundation. It is an online tool that you can use. Pretty easy, pretty fun when you get in and you start messing with it. And they've got a lot of great things to help you drop tracks for your games in class.